What's up, webheads? It's your boy SpideyQueue. It's Thursday, it's sunny, it's Throwback Thursday, and it's time for Next in Queue, so let's get to it. Man, this morning was a rough one. I woke up and shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got in my pajamas, I don't know.
It's 6 o'clock.
Alright, let's get to the vlog. And since it's Throwback Thursday and Toronto ComiCon is coming up this weekend, I thought I'd talk a little bit about my first Toronto ComiCon experience. It was such an awesome experience for me because it was one of the first times I got to meet a lot of the bigger Spider-Verse as opposed to Anime North. Anime North was the first time I cosplayed at a con. This one, I just wore my mask to the con, but this was the first time I got to meet a couple of guys out of the Spider-Verse, and it was pretty cool. They were all in a group, and I remember I was snapping a bunch of pictures of them, and I had a Spidey mask on, and I went back. I kept having to go back and forth between me and Beans because my lenses were just fogging up so much, and it was starting to get really, really frustrating. And to the rescue came these two cats, Symbiote Spidey and the Symbol of Hope. We had all been following each other on Instagram for a bit, and when they had come over, they had asked, where I got the mask, where I got my face shell. I told them it was a Tocc set, and the Symbol of Hope actually happened to mention, why don't you use a mesh? And it was around that same time Hendo Art had just released a tutorial on how she was kind of using the mesh for her Gwen lenses, but I had never seen it past the pictures. So to hear it from someone else, I figured, okay, there must be something to this. And then when he showed me his lenses and how they were the nice painted mesh, it all came together and made so much more sense. The breathability was a lot better, and that's how I started making my lenses from there. Symbiote Spidey also had the exact same thing. He had the mesh on the inside of his Symbiote 2099. And they were just saying, for the breathability of it, for just the longevity of you wearing the actual mask and the costume, it ended up being a lot better, and it's now how I make all my lenses. It was really awesome because I was meeting everybody who I was already following on Instagram or who I had been corresponding with on Instagram. Like, I got to meet the Brampton Iron Man, now becomes such a good friend of ours. Got to run into K-Star Hune for a bit. It was the first time I met Castle Cosplay and all the Saiyan boys. It was just such an awesome time, and it was the first time I'd actually got to walk a con, like in my mask, but walk a con where I was actually going to be able to run into people that I knew. Which made it all the more fun because, not gonna lie, I was really nervous about going to the con. I think you build up all these expectations in yourself where it's like, oh, I'm gonna go and it's gonna be so awesome and I'm gonna know everybody there. And then when you get there, sometimes you end up like introverting a bit and you get really shy, or you're always so nervous to try to approach cosplayers or if people who you're fans of. Because the community was so welcoming and so open, you feel really comfortable once you get up there and you start just mingling with people, meeting new cosplayers, talking to them. You figure out that you're older than pretty much everybody, which is why now they kind of call us cosplay mom and dad. Sorry, Beans, love you, but you're cosplay mom for life. And the more we mixed and mingled with people, we just felt like we fit so well. It was so nice to be around a lot of like-minded people who shared in your fandoms, who were excited about the same things you were excited about with the con, who wanted to talk more about, what Spidey was doing in the comics, or what so-and-so was doing with the comics, or what new things were coming out, what movies were coming out. It was cool to be part of that, to be part of this huge thing that you were always like kind of on the outside looking in from, But I would have never have been able to do that if I wouldn't have just kind of thrown myself in and gone with the flow. I understand it's kind of hard for some people, and I understand, you get a little nervous and you might be a little bit intimidated by it, but a lot of the times, cosplayers in general, especially from Canada and especially from Toronto, are just genuinely great people. You've got your oddballs, like you've got your weirdos, and not like because of what they did, they're just, some of them are just bleh. But for the most part, the cosplay community in Canada, in Toronto specifically, is just great. One of my absolute favorite things now when I go to a con is I could be walking down just the aisle, just go from the north building to the south building, or in between those two, and just walking through there and having someone yell like, SpideyQueue. It's so cool just to see like, people who follow you on Instagram, and then they can come up and say, hey, I follow you on Instagram. You get to talking, and you start to meet all sorts of people. You network even more, and it's so much fun. But I think one of my favorite things is it's actually a story about the first time I went to Comic-Con. I'm walking down the hallway to go to the escalators to go down to the building, and as I'm walking, I see this kid in a stroller, and he's got half of his Spidey suit on, but he doesn't have his mask on, and he sees me. This kid just starts, Mom! Losing his shit trying to get his mask on because here comes the Spider-Man. So I stop, I make it look like I'm checking my watch, and I start tapping my foot. I'm waiting for him to come, and he's just like, Spider-Man! if you're in that situation and you don't start getting like little butterflies and stuff like that, and you don't have a gigantic smile underneath your facial, you're just dead inside. I opened up my arms to give the kid a big hug. He came strolling up with his mom. He leaned forward in the stroller. He gave me a hug. We took a bunch of pictures, shook his dad's hand, said hello to his mother, and they were on their way. Whether it felt awesome for that kid or not, I know for me, it was like I rode that high for the rest of the con, and it was the most amazing feeling I had ever felt. So I guess my advice to everyone who's going to be going to Toronto ComiCon this weekend, I will be seeing you there. Be afraid to approach your boy, come say what's up, and let's have a chat. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I really hope I run into a ton of you there. But let's go ahead and wrap this up, alright? And as always, if you like what you saw today, why don't you go ahead and click the like button, and if you plan on sticking around, why don't you go ahead and subscribe too. And if you think of a couple people who want to know if we're going to be showing up to the con, why don't you share the video and spread some love on the channel. But as always, guys, thanks for hanging. I'm SpideyQueue. Lots more coming from your boy. So as always, stay tuned, y'all.